Hello, everybody. This is Keith Jowers, founder of Dads for Life, and we are here with Straight Talk for Parents, just like we are here every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I know a lot of you will see this in a replay mode in our repurposing venues, but then also you're going to be coming in on Periscope in just a moment. We welcome all you Periscope folks, and if you have a question about our super guest tonight with some of the issues that he has seen in parenting, then we want you to send those in. You know, we are so excited about our guest tonight, Mr. Glenn Ellison, who is the founder of the Parent Help Center. Now, do parents need help? Absolutely, parents need help. And we're not going to waste too much time in this big introduction yet, but I want to go straight down to the bottom down there in Australia, where our dear friend, Miss Ariel Wheeler, a super brand specialist that helps get your message out through her venue. So welcome, Ariel, and tell us a little bit about who you are. We appreciate you being our co-host with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Down here and down under, there is always so much going on. We're shrimp on the barbie. We are cooking up a storm in the rain at the moment. So, hey, just quick welcome. I'm Ariel Wheeler. I'm the founder of iHopeBrand.com. I'm a visibility creator, writer, and coach. I help heart-centered entrepreneurs, and I can imagine there's many of you on the line now who are heart-centered entrepreneurs. I help you to create a connected community that creates cash flow, and I'm so excited to be on the Straight Talk for Parents tonight because we have such an amazing guest, and he has such an amazing and empowered message about parenting. And I'm going to swing it back to Keith because I want to get this ball rocking and rolling. So welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Ariel. Okay, folks, we're going to get right into it. My dear friend of many years is Mr. Glenn Ellison. And Glenn has a wonderful mission, and it's called the ParentHelpCenter.com. If you don't know what it is, you don't think you need it, or you say, oh, this is not for me, or whatever, you need to just go there and check it out. And we're going to try to play a little clip from the video that's on the front of that page in just a few minutes from our local sheriff here, because our sheriff, and we have state attorneys, we have congressmen, we have all sorts of people that support Mr. Glenn Ellison. And he has got such a busy schedule. Glenn, I finally got you on here, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you say hello, and then we're going to get right into this introduction of this class, okay?
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to share my mission and my passion. This is all I've done for 16 years, 7 days a week. I answer the phone when they call, because everyone who calls me, they're not like you, Keith. They got problems. And so we've done everything in our power to be a support system to desperate parents.
Well, you know, Glenn, we have been, you know, my career of 30 years in law enforcement, and we've shared some stories and how we can help parents. And you know, what it really boils down to is, folks, I've worked with kids for many years, and I've seen the issues when a parent cannot have control in their home. So we're going to talk to Mr. Glenn Ellison about this great program. So let me just give you a little background. Glenn's mission here with the Parent Help Center is to empower parents to raise respectful and productive children in order to strengthen their communities, our country, and the world. And he is getting some world questions now and world impact. It's phenomenal what's happening with the Parent Help Center. And it was founded by Glenn and his wife Sheila 16 years ago, and it was specially created to help change the way parents deal with and effectively correct bad behavior and bad attitudes in their children. Does your children have bad attitudes? Well, let's see what Glenn has to say about that. Glenn, welcome to the show, and let's get right into it. Question number one. Glenn, being very familiar with the Parent Help Center that my wife and I are, and seeing what you've done in our community here in North Florida, I know that you've been successful in the program, but the people that are viewing this in the replay mode or watching Periscope on live now, we appreciate all our viewers coming in on Periscope right now. We thank you for joining into this. Maybe there's an answer for you. So, Glenn, your successful work has become very, very known in our community and really nationwide. You have parents come in from everywhere. How did this begin? Did you just one day say, oh, well, I'm going to retire and just work with parents all my life?
No, that's not how it happened at all. In fact, my best friend had a 14-year-old boy who just went off the chain and completely out of control. Didn't take us very long to figure out that the system that we work with, the juvenile justice system, was not prepared to deal with this family, because until, in Florida anyway, and I'm not sure how it is around the country, but until that child's accumulated 12 points or better on their juvenile record, there's nothing law enforcement can do to hold that child. This father was so desperate, he went to the judge and said, please arrest my son, put him in jail, because I would rather visit him in jail than the morgue. So after 2 years of total desperation, I saw and said to myself, somebody ought to do something. I volunteered, and I went to the experts to find out what they thought we needed to do to fix this kind of a problem. And 16 years later, we're not rookies anymore. We know exactly what to do. We know how to do it. The problem that I first found in dealing with this issue was my niche, if you will. My phone rang off the hook for the first year of parents wanting me to fix their kid. I don't fix kids. I didn't mess them up. I'm going to fix the root cause of the problem. And when I spoke to 67 sheriffs a few weeks ago, not one of them was arguing with me that mama and daddy is the problem, not the little boy, not the little girl. So we've dedicated our life to empowering parents to fix the mess they made. Now, the hard part of my job is convincing that parent they need fixing, because they don't come to me to get fixed. They come to me to fix their kid. I have a lot of fun doing this.
Well, Glenn, I've seen you work, and I've seen you have compassion in your heart that some parents think you may not have, but I know you personally, and I know that this is a huge undertaking for you and your wife. You are the most gracious people that I know when it comes to doing this kind of social work, so to speak. But all you're trying to do is to help these parents understand they have a very important role that God has given them. And on your website, theparenthelpcenter.com, which we're going to highlight in a few minutes when we go down to Ariel, you mention your programs. And I know there's many programs. I've heard success stories. I've talked to people who have had success. I have referred people to you when I was in my law enforcement career who says, thank you for doing that. I want to touch on these programs a little bit because I know the in-depth study of all of them, and I know that we can't do that in the short time we have here on Straight Talk with Parents. But I know that we don't have time to go into all the detail, but I want you to give the audience just a little thumbnail, if we want to call it that, on each program, starting with what I find, and I'm actually certified in, is the Empowered Parent Conference. I want you to kind of just touch on that, because that's kind of the first step, isn't it, when they call you, or may necessarily just if they just go to your website, right? Isn't that the first step for them? Tell us a little bit about the Empowered Parent Conference.
The main thing that we want parents to understand is we have no clue how you're parenting your child when you come to us. But I do know this, it's not working. So why in heaven's name do we want to keep doing the same thing, hoping for a different result? We got to change something. We're going to change the home environment that created that little monster, if you will, in these 7, and teach that parent exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and never lose their temper, to stay calm and work a plan that's laid out to change behavior, not hoping it'll work, not thinking it might work, but believing with every fiber of my body that what we do will work. The question is, will that parent work? And if they will, coupled with my commitment to support them and help them through this process, we're going to be winners. And if we win, we're going to put peace back in that home, and that peace is going to trickle down into the classroom and making better citizens, and better citizens are going to make our streets safe again. That's my passion. I want America back, the one that I grew up loving. But now I'm afraid to walk down the deadgum street.
Hmm. Well, you know, Glenn, I have experienced some of that in my career when I was working with kids so much. I saw a lot of kids. I mean, I had to actually arrest a 13-year-old girl that took a hammer to her entire family and the house. It was crazy, you know, but that was way back then. So how much further, because of the internet and the social media and everything that's giving them these values, because they're not being, you know, trained up really with some good values. And some of them are, and they go out and they get wrong with the wrong crowd. And I understand that. But Glenn, we're at a point now in society where we have to kind of let that pendulum come back and say, parents, we got to be in control, aren't we?
Absolutely. So as you said, the first thing we do is teach parents what to do. We have a curriculum. We teach that book, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. Then we take parents from that classroom environment 2 weeks later into a real life application, if you will, on-the-job training, if you will, called Camp Consequence. There's nothing like this camp anywhere in the world. Why is it different? Because mom and dad have to stay with their kid. You will not drop Johnny off and leave me with him.
I've seen that happen, and recently I was in one of your conferences because I introduced a friend of mine who is a police officer in another county, and you just entered that county, so he was there to learn how he could refer folks to you, and he just told me, he said, Keith, he said, man, that's some good stuff right there. And one thing that stuck out in my mind on the evening that I was there was the father that came and spoke and says, if you're looking for an overnight success, don't depend on this to be an overnight success, because parenting is not an overnight success, is it? It took him 7 years, right, to really get, or he's been doing it 7 years, but his child has changed, right?
Correct. Didn't get this way yesterday, and it's not going to get fixed today.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
We don't even call this a program. There's a lot of behavioral programs out there.
That's right.
Programs begin and programs end. When do you stop being a parent? Never. So this is a lifestyle. You gotta change so dramatically. Little Johnny now looks up to daddy and says, I want to be just like him when I grow up. That's not happening today. They don't want to be like mom and dad anymore.
Yes,
they want to be like some rock star or football player. No, mom and dad should be their idol, if you will, their go-to person. And they're going to every place on the planet but mom and dad today.
They are, Glenn. And I did a couple of periscopes earlier today, and I played a song, and I was building up to this class tonight by Rodney Atkins. It says, I've been watching you, you know, and whether he cusses, you know, or whether he prays at night before bed, his dad asked him, where'd you learn this stuff? He goes, from you, Dad, because it's so important. But it's not just dad, it's mom too. They're learning these behaviors at home sometimes. Yep. But when we lose control, parents, I could tell you that you know, I had some discussion with my daughter. She was wonderful, really, but at 16 years old, it was those issues we had to work through, you know. But she listened to me and her mom. We talked her through them, and because we communicated. And we sat at the table. We didn't have a phone that we could text each other the answers. We literally communicated about issues, right? And that's another thing I get on sometimes, is the technology is really just taken over and really kind of made our kids think, hey, if I don't have a cell phone, my world's coming to an end.
Yep.
So, all right. So we got to talk about the parent conference, which is a 2-night and half-a-day Sunday, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Glenn, I know you're not getting rich on this because it's not that expensive. And I've seen some behavioral programs that I don't know how people can afford them. But, you know, so people can go to your website and they sign up for one of these for roughly what cost?
$199.
And that includes the book? That includes the book.
That's everything. We even feed them all weekend.
Wow. The
point I'm trying to make is the parents who come to me are not wealthy. If they were wealthy, they'd send their kid to a $5,000 a month boarding school and up.
Wow.
We work with families that are everyday, hardworking, tax-paying mamas and daddies and grandparents and foster parents who desperately need help. They can't afford those other programs. So we take them under our wing and we coach them. I've got parents that's been with me for 8 years, Keith.
Yes. And your youngest child that you've had to help a parent with was what age?
7.
7 years
7 to
old.
17.
Wow.
And we have many 8, 9, and 10-year-old kids that are completely out of control.
Well, I'm going to take just a short break here. Reset, everyone. This is Keith Jowers, founder of Dads for Life. And one of the things we do is we do Straight Talk with Parents every Monday night here live with a special guest, or we just have communications with you and talk about parenting issues. My dear friend and co-host, Miss Ariel Wheeler, is in Australia, and she is going to be talking to Glenn Ellison, our guest, in just a moment about his website, which is the one we want you to check out, which is theparenthelpcenter.com. You will get all the information you need regarding Glenn and his program that's been highly successful, and that's coming from a 30-year retired police officer. I can tell you it works. Now, getting back to the programs he has in Empowered Parent Conference, he also has parent support groups, right, Glenn? So we do those weekly because that's important. And you do them on the phone and on the computer and so forth, right?
Absolutely. The key to what we do is not teaching a book, not running a camp, but coaching parents every week on what to do. We set up our support system just like the AA meetings. We all know if you are addicted to something, and many of us parents are addicted to screaming and yelling and acting like a kid, it's going to take accountability. And so we hold these parents, these adults, accountable to work the parenting plan that we help lay out. We also have the kids involved in this, and we hold them accountable to live the lifestyle. And over days and weeks and months, ever so slowly, even incrementally, behavior starts to change. But it has to start with the adult first. You can't act like a kid and expect them to act like an adult. Oh boy.
So true.
Profound.
I'm seeing more of our Periscope viewers come on. We welcome all of you Periscope viewers and those who are watching live on the web through our Twitter feed. We're excited to have Mr. Glenn Ellison, the founder and president of the Parent Help Center. If you have issues that you're trying to work through with your children, you just don't know where to go, or if you know someone that does, then you can refer them to theparenthelpcenter.com, because we're not talking just a local program anymore, are we, Glenn?
No, we're not. We've got parents coming from all over America. We've got them coming from out of the country now. We have an online presence as well for training parents, so they don't have to come to Jacksonville. And so that has exploded on us. The online, well, you can go to college and get a degree. You might as well learn how to be a daddy online as well.
And a mommy, yeah. So I tell you, Glenn, tell us about that. I know what's coming up. Tell the viewers what you've got coming on that's really going to be taking your mission completely around the globe.
Yes, we were blessed a few weeks ago to be invited to the Florida Sheriff's Winter Conference. And if anybody's been in the business world, you know how difficult it is to get to the decision maker. Well, I was blessed to be put in front of 67 decision makers at one time.
Wow.
And one of those sheriffs that I have to convince that what I was doing was the answer to the problems they're facing every day in the streets with juveniles. So we are committed in 2017 to take our product, our curriculum online, where we can train parents in Australia. We are committed to reaching as many parents as we can. By the way, Brother Keith, I didn't tell you I'm a United States Marine. I love America. And I'm too old to join up, but I'm still fighting to save, in my opinion, the greatest country in the world. And somebody's got to do something to get peace back in our homes, because when the home is out of kilter, so is our country. So as we go online to train thousands of parents, October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, We're going to train over 10,000 parents on one weekend through live streaming.
Wow.
We
That's
can even do
awesome.
it in Australia. I'm excited about it.
That is awesome. And we're going to get to Australia in just a moment here. Got to talk about these two last things. Camp Consequence. Tell us about that. I like Camp Consequence, actually, not as a participant, but as a volunteer.
Camp Consequence is a continuation of the Empowered Parent Conference. When you're up to your behind in alligators, it's really hard to focus on a classroom environment, in a classroom environment. 2 weeks later, after parents go home and do their homework, preparing to attend camp, the parents and their children both come to Camp Consequence. We have two purposes at camp. Number one is to train parents and teach parents how to do what we showed them in the classroom. Number two, in fact, 75% of our time at camp is spent on parents. The second phase is for the kids. I deal with good kids who are making bad choices. They're not juvenile delinquents. They're not hardcore, street savvy, tough kids. They're just knuckleheads making bad choices. This is a wake-up call. The kids in America do not appreciate anything. Not their mama, not their daddy, not the bed they sleep in, not the bath they take at night in the hot water. Well, after leaving my camp, they're going to appreciate a bathroom. They're going to appreciate everything that they've taken for granted because it is lost. They are put in a pup tent, and I don't care if it's 20 degrees. Mm-hmm. Life is tough. Grow up, little boy. Mm-hmm. And when they leave camp, they're going to know for a fact because mama and daddy stayed with them that whole weekend. They didn't drop them off and go back home. Mamas and daddies don't take a bath. Well, let me back up. Daddies don't shave. I don't know what mamas do. But the bottom line is it is hard on parents. It's hard on kids. And they come together on Sunday morning and they tell each other how much they love them.
As
Sunday morning, days as a family because they're separated the entire weekend at camp. They can see each other, but they cannot talk to them. I'm their mama. I'm their daddy. I am everything they need that weekend. I don't think they even like me when it's over with, but they do respect me. I promise you.
Well, I want to tell you, I've seen the program as a law enforcement officer, but the main thing is, hey, apparently law enforcement's behind you because where is it held again?
I'm telling you, we are inside of a jail.
That's right.
Razor wire all around them, guards, dogs, guns, and they're told everything to do for that weekend. We simulate being a juvenile delinquent, which is where they're headed.
That's right.
They don't make better choices because they're only one bad choice away from being incarcerated. One bad choice, and we lose our good kid.
All right, one more thing real quick, and then we're going to reset and send you to Australia to look at your wonderful website. The optional 30-day summer camp. Now, that is interesting.
Yes, it is. It is unbelievable. I deal with kids who have no respect. They have no anger management abilities, and they have no work ethic, unless they're on a computer or an iPad or something electronic. They can do that, but they have no concept of sweat. They come to Camp Consequence, and their parents tell them, I love you. I'll see you 30 days from now. Oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm. They don't have a clue what they're getting into. But our summer camp is a success camp. It's all about helping young people believe that they can achieve anything in life. This is America. We can do anything if we just don't quit. And we work with these kids and we teach them how to use weed eaters and how to sharpen blades on shovels and how to dig ditches and how to sweat. And some of them think they're going to have a heart attack or a heat stroke because it is hot in the summertime here in Florida. But I tell you, when those parents come to pick those little boys and those little girls, we have two camps, one for boys and one for girls. And when those parents see those kids, some of them've lost 20 and 30 pounds in 30 days. In fact, Brother Keith, I think I'm going to start me a fat camp. I can make some money.
Well, Glenn, I've seen that in action. You know, my wife and I have taught there and brought you speakers before, and we've also invested in it and invested in some books to help those kids for the future. And I want to make an online commitment to you that Dads for Life will be more involved in teaching leadership, whatever we can do this year to help you and to help the dads and moms as well. So you and I'll be meeting about that. So let's take a little reset. I am Keith Showers. I am founder of Dads for Life, and Fatherhood is Awesome. And we believe that you can encourage, enhance, and enrich lives around you every day. But we want you to start with your children because they truly do need it the most. And I came up with an idea, my friend, Miss Ariel Wheeler down in Australia, about a year ago, I think now, Ariel, and we wanted to help parents in general. So we started Straight Talk for Parents. We have a Facebook page she might mention in just a moment. But we have our special guest, Mr. Glenn Ellison, and his lovely wife, Sheila, who founded the Parent Health Center 16 years ago. And I was going to mention that he was a former U.S. Marine, but not only that, he is also a former NFL running back. Right, Glenn?
Yep.
So you know how to run over some things occasionally. And he's been running into these troubled kids for a long time, but all their parents needed was a little direction and a little encouragement and a little kind of just shifting in the road they're traveling. And I have heard testimony after testimony. So I want to go down to Australia to my lovely guest, Miss Ariel Wheeler, who's a brand specialist that has helped Dads for Life get on the map greatly, and we appreciate her and what she's done for our vision. She helps a lot of people do that, and we want her to share Mr. Glenn Ellison's website, the Parent Health Center, and his Facebook page. Ariel, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. All righty, I'm just going to share the screen here and let me know when you can see the screen share, and we'll get rocking and rolling.
We can see it. Yes.
Yep. Excellent. This is such an amazing website.
Where did the video go, Glenn? We want you to navigate.
Okay, let's get rocking and rolling. Yeah. We'd love for you to tell us a little about the Parent Health Center and what you have here on your website.
Keep arrow. There you go.
This is the one we want to play, right, Glenn?
That's the one. Yep.
Oh, which one was that? Sorry.
Hit your back arrow. It'll go back to the sheriff.
This one here?
Well, I can't control it. Keep arrowing. It'll come back.
Yeah, there was
okay.
the video
Let's
there.
see.
There you go.
See the video? Is this the one here to watch?
That's
Yes.
it.
Absolutely. Let's watch it.
Hello, I'm Mike Williams, Sheriff of Jacksonville, Florida. I would like to take a minute of your time to tell you about a good friend of mine and a dear friend to many families in this area, Glenn Ellison. Not long ago, Glenn approached me with an amazing idea. It's called Operation Empowered Parent. This program, I believe, will equip parents to be the best they can be and bring peace back to homes and ultimately bring positive change to families and communities. Glenn is passionately presenting this opportunity to the entire city and beyond. In fact, you may have already been contacted to take part in this upcoming event. And if you have, get on board now. If you haven't, please visit OperationEmpoweredParent.com to learn more about it. I believe in Operation Empowered Parent, and I'd like to see our faith-based community and our local business leaders get involved. Programs like these build strong families and communities, and I think we would all agree we need more of that in America.
Absolutely amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us. Let's click back to the page here. So we go back to the first page. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. So what are some of the common things that you see in children that come to the Parent Health Center?
The biggest thing is disrespect. They have a real problem trusting moms and dads enough to respect their decisions, their rules or boundaries. And so it becomes a complete battle to help these kids stay in school, out of trouble. It's a war. I'm telling you, after 16 years of being involved in the trenches with these families, it breaks your heart to know what is going on inside those houses. 60% of who I work with are single mothers. They have no help, they have no hope, and they have no money. And so we work real hard supporting mamas to turn these little boys and little girls around before they cross that line and become real juvenile delinquents. So respect is a big issue. When you lose respect, there's no place for any relationship to go but down. And that's what's happened. They don't respect the school teacher. They don't respect the policeman. And it all began in the home. And we've got to get back to the root cause of all the problems that we're facing in the classroom and on our streets. It's going to be at mama's house. Guarantee it.
Absolutely. So what's some of the behavioral things you see? Do you see a lot of yelling, swearing, carrying on, throwing chairs? So what's some of those things that you do see?
Well, we know for a fact that many parents are so frustrated, so disappointed. In fact, I've had parents say, I hate them. I hate my kid. And I never dreamed I would get to that point because of what they've done to their family. And so when these families come to us, we have to help them understand that forgiveness is a big part of changing behavior. But when your heart's been broken by the one you love with all your heart, it is really hard to change. And therefore, the foundation for changing behavior is love and affection. And if you can't do that, and I've had parents tell me, I can't do it, I won't do it, then I can't help you. So it's a battle to control yourself versus controlling that child. If you cannot model the behavior that you expect from a child, this lifestyle will not work for you. You will be a complete and utter failure because your kids are going to learn more by what you do than what you say. They are watching you, as Keith said earlier, that video, I end my conferences with that video. They are truly watching you, and they will learn by your behavior. So when you get upset, you give your kids permission to get upset just as well. When you calm down, when you control your own emotions, that child is going to calm down just as well. Peace is our goal, putting peace back in that home.
Absolutely. And that brings me back to your website here, because there are so many great things about your page, like having a strong-willed child, some of the things that we've just spoken about, not only just with respect, because some kids aren't actually taught respect through their parents. And you outlined some of the amazing things here that you've got going on. So I would like you just to explain a little bit about your website and like where we can contact you as well. And just for our viewers, just to get to know what Glenn does and what the Parent Help Center is all about.
There's a lot of websites designed to sell somebody something. I'm not a salesman. I don't want to sell you nothing. I want to answer your questions. I want to give you hope. And so when we put this site together, it was designed specifically for a parent to be sitting down and not rush through this decision. It is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I do know what tough is. So when these parents come to us, we encourage them to go to the top left-hand side of that and look at our programs. Every one of those programs are explained in great detail and with videos to back it up. After they look at the programs and they understand what we offer, I ask them to go to the testimonials. Those testimonies were real, and I know every one of those parents. Not one of them took the time to lie. Their lives have been changed. Their families have been brought back together. And then if their questions have not been answered under programs, then they go to our frequently asked questions. I don't think there's any question that you can ask that we don't have. And if you do ask a question that's not on here, we're going to go at it so you don't have to keep coming back and say, but what about this? What about that? It's all spelled out. on this site. So then you can sit down with your spouse or by yourself and decide, is this what you're wanting? Because we work hand in hand with law enforcement, state attorneys, public defenders, police officers, because we're inside of a jail, you cannot imagine all the hoops we had to jump through, all the insurance that we have to carry to protect everyone who comes on our site. So we have been vetted, if you will. We have been checked out by everybody. And we're very excited that they're okay with what we do, both therapeutically and behaviorally.
Absolutely. So how can we get in contact with you, Glenn?
Well, we've designed the site to be totally automated. Once you come to us, and you can see on the page now, we have a support link or in a phone number that you could contact someone if you needed to. And that lady is what we call an empowered parent. She's been there, she's done that, she's fought this war, she has the answers because she's lived in that war. So she's very, very knowledgeable. Melissa is her name, and she, there's not anything she can't answer. So once you decide you want to become an empowered parent, then you go up to the calendar and you click on calendar, and you'll see the dates pop up. The next Empowered Parent Conference is going to be March 31st, April 1st, and 2nd. It's always the first weekend of every month. You click on view the event. That will take you to where you make payment. Gives you all the details, the time it starts, where it's at, and then register for Jacksonville Empowered Parent Conference. You click that on, and that's where you take your credit cards and all that stuff, and it's all done electronically.
Excellent, excellent. I'm thinking that, Keith, there might be some Periscope viewers who may have some questions there for Glenn that he may like to answer before we wrap up.
Well, I actually am not seeing anything coming through Periscope. I do want to just thank you for doing that. And also we want to thank Glenn for being our guest. So Glenn, once again, they can reach you at theparenthelpcenter.com, right?
Absolutely.
And all questions can be answered there or emailed. We can find out answers for our parents, right?
Absolutely.
So we are so excited to have you, sir, and we thank you greatly for your time. Ariel, thank you for sharing that website with us. And we are Straight Talk for Parents. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Mr. Glenn Ellison, the founder of theparenthelpcenter.com. He has been with us to talk about this wonderful program that might help you as a parent, but then also if it's not affecting you directly, it's going to be affecting someone that you may know, so you can refer them. So, Glenn, thank you, sir, for being with us here on Straight Talk for Parents. And we will be repurposing this on our Facebook page for Straight Talk for Parents in a couple of hours, and we'll be repurposing it all through our social media venues. So until next time, this is Keith Jowers, founder of Dads for Life and Straight Talk for Parents, co-host and founded with my dear friend Ariel Wheeler down in Australia. And once again, you can reach Glenn at theparenthelpcenter.com. Until next time, folks, next Monday we have a special guest coming next week too. We will see you then on Straight Talk for Parents. Don't forget to follow us at dadsforlife.org and our new radio show coming up that, Glenn, you'll have to get on that guest list too. So all there. See you later, guys. Thank you.